Okay, welcome back to another Scrapping Irish video, and as you can see from this one, I'm going to be doing a bit more work on the gold corner BGAs that I was talking about in a video a while back. I'm not sure if it was last week or week before, whatever week it was. So these are our gold corner BGAs. So you can see they're made up of two parts, which if I take this lid off, because we've separated some of them from a previous video that you can find somewhere up in the corner there, a link to it. So they're made up of two parts. They're made up of this part, which is your base, and then they have the black tops, which are this. So on this video it's the base I'm going to be working on, and I always presumed they were gold bonding wires, but they're not. They're just gold flashing. So thanks to another YouTuber who informed me of that, and I've done a bit of research and stuff like that is that yes, Kitefire is correct that they, from what I've been researching there, they've been shown up as flashing, even though under a microscope they may look like bond wires, but they're not, they're just flashed. So I'm going to be trying to get the gold from these. So you can see there's gold along there, and there's gold corners. Not much gold in it. The main part of the gold will be in the caps, but that will be for a separate video where I'll be incinerating them to release the gold bonding wires, which are in here. The bonding wires are there, flashed there. So first off, I'm just going to separate them all out into two piles. So I'll have all my stuff in here. This is the bottoms, and then the tops I will keep in a separate container, or sorry, I'm going to put all the bottoms into one and keep all these in separately from them. So I'm going to do that. You don't need to see me doing that. I'll separate them, and I'll also take the black, separate these ones that I haven't done yet. So again, you'll see that on that video. In the meantime, why don't you hit that subscribe button that's down below, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber, and if you are already a subscriber or a new subscriber, just hit the like button as well, guys. So I'd really appreciate it. So let's separate these out and see what we end up with. Okay, so I have separated them all out, and this is the box now, which has just the black caps in it. So that'll be for a separate video. So what I'm concerned for is these. And if I just zoom in a bit and move our camera a small bit in, you will see, if I zoom in more, they're all different sort of types of ones. They're not kind of standard. So as you can see there, we have our gold. If it'll focus, there we go. So you can see the gold. As I said, I presume they were gold bonding wires, but I've been told they're not. So even though, if you look at some of them, like the likes of this one, if I zoom out slightly, it looks like they're bonding wires coming to it, but I've been told they're not. So we'll see. We'll put them into the into copper chloride, because that's the way I'm going to do it again. You can see even this one here, probably better. But so again, it looks like they're bonding wires to me, but I've been told they're not. So the only way to know is when I put them into the copper chloride. If they're released and they're floating around in the copper chloride, then they weren't bonding wires, were they? They were just plated. So, but if they stay on the board and the copper chloride doesn't release them, chances are they're bonding wires. So, but I'll trust what the other scrappers are telling me, and e-waste recovery guys, and we'll see. So little bucket again. This will be set up the exact same way as I set up the one for when I was doing the mobile phone ribbons and the computer ribbons and stuff like that. So I'll have my little air bubbler, and we'll pour in the copper chloride, and we'll go from there. So I'm not going to bother weighing these, because I'm not too concerned about weights or anything. It's just, I just want to get the gold off them, that's all. Some of them, as you can see, are like this. They've only got the little gold bit here. That's copper underneath there. but if there is any more gold anywhere, it'll be released inside of there. So let's go to the shed, guys. Let's get this reaction going, and after I get it going, we can leave it a few days and come back to it and see how we got on it. So let's head to the shed, guys. Okay guys, here we are in the shed. So as you can see, I've set up my little ear hoses. I put 2 into it this time, so that's them just coming in there at the side. I put a little bit of glass over the top of it, so that will hold the hoses down. And we're just going to, I'm going to use the same liquid that I used the last day, that I still have, because I still think there's going to be enough in that to start taking off the foils. So we're just going to put that much in first. Just put a fistful of these in. And now we're going to add more of the liquid. And if I need to freshen it up, I can just add more hydrochloric acid to freshen it up. Okay, so that's it in. Add in the rest of these. Try and get them all under the liquid. Sorry if the camera's moving, I'm trying to get a better angle so you can see what's happening. Now that's them all in, and we'll just try and get them all under the liquid if we can. Okay, so only thing left to do, switch on the pumps. So there we go. So we let that bubble away, put the lid on the top, and we let that work away, and I'll switch the fan on and we should be working away then. So let me switch on the fan. Okay, so fan is on, working away. I'll leave that there and we'll come back in a couple of days and see how we've got on. Okay guys, so I've left it a couple of days, and I don't see any gold floating around the top, but if I take out, so I'm thinking it's very, very, very fine powdered gold that I'm left with. I'm just trying to see if I can fish out some of these. Here we go. So again, I have the gloves on when I'm doing this. There's a pile of them here, but it's just to get them to come up. Okay, so as you can see, the gold is gone from in around all this area on them. So let me just get another one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter it out, and we'll see what I ended up with. I see little minute bits of gold floating around, but you can see there's no gold left on there, so I presume it has all been taken off, and all we're left now with is the copper that hasn't been ate away yet by the acid. But when I twirl this around, I can see like a cloud of stuff appearing, so I'm hoping that's very, very fine gold. If not, I don't know where my gold has gone, but sure we'll see. So I'll filter that out, guys, and we'll see what we got. Okay guys, so having filtered it, it didn't go quite as good as I thought it would. So I think there's a little bit of an error on my part. Is as you can see here, let me tilt you down a bit to it. there's still gold on them. So some of them, the gold is gone, but there's this muddy stuff left on them as well. And you can see here in this where it is, you can see it's like a mud, and also in here in the filter you can see the mud. You can see one gold flake in there, or two. But I'm thinking, I'll just pour that in there and I'll wash out anything, because again I'll go through this this filter and I'll do another process on that again to make sure that it is a gold that's in it. But what I think has happened, so that's why I'm going to break this into two videos now, because this is the fail part, as far as I'm concerned, that anyhow. So, but by putting it up, people let me know, have they encountered this, or anyone, because I say this is my first time doing this with the VGA chips. I was saving them up and I was going to see, but so there's a lot of this mud type substance. So what I think has happened is, because I didn't clean off the tin solder from the VGAs at the back of them, maybe I should have soaked them in HCl first just to get rid of the tin solder before I put them into it. Or maybe there's so much copper in the on the back of them that all it's doing is using up all the hydrochloric acid or copper chloride and becoming saturated and dropping this mud out and not getting to the gold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wash these out again. I'll do that off camera with distilled water and get them ready for a fresh batch, because again that what I used in that that copper chloride was what was left over from the what was I doing lately? Oh yeah, the foils. So it's what's left over from the foils, and I just added a small bit of hydrochloric acid to it, not an awful lot. But what it's done now is, because I'd already used so much of the hydrochloric acid and it's become saturated, it is not getting enough of the copper off to release the gold. As you can see there, there's still gold on some of them. Some of them now it has released the gold, and I don't see it anywhere, so I'm presuming it's in that mud. So they may need to be washed again in hydrochloric acid to clear out that mud, to clear out anything, because you see there now there's no gold only in the corner, but the gold that was here is gone. Now it could be very, very minute, and it'll be in there. You can see there's gold there, and you can see there's gold there still. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this in with it. So this is off a mouse pad and it's got the gold. So when I'm doing it, I'll throw that in here, and then at least I know if it's working, because I'll see that lifting off. Because with this being such minute gold, it may be that it's ending up in that mud, and it's just that I can't see it through the mud and stuff like that. But so I don't really know what caused it, to be honest, because I'm presuming it's because all the solder balls on the back here, the tin solder, went into solution, and it saturated it so that the copper had to come out. So any of the copper that was in there fell out, and I ended up with that muddy coppery substance, which may be containing some of the gold. So what I'm going to do on this part, these is going to dry this out. I'm going to wash it in hydrochloric acid, hot hydrochloric acid, and that way then it should just dissolve any of the copper and stuff, any of the other metals again, and leave any gold behind. That's the plan with that filters. But it may work, it may not work, but I'm going to put this into fresh hydrochloric acid, and we'll see how we get on. So I'm going to wash it out first, and then I'm going to put it into a fresh hydrochloric acid. So that'll be for another video, guys, so keep an eye out for that video coming up, and we'll see how I got on. Was it a total fail, or was it just a fail that I ended up using more hydrochloric acid because I didn't get rid of the tin solder beforehand? Like you can see there, there is gold wires still there, and it's just hasn't dissolved them. Now again, as I was saying before, I thought they were gold bonding wires that was in these, and I was told they weren't. So maybe they are gold bonding wires, and that's why it hasn't dissolved them. So if anyone from watching this first video know what caused it, if it is that, let me know, and we'll see how we get on with the second video when I put it into fresh hydrochloric acid. And if it doesn't work, then I am presuming they are bonding wires. But we'll know once we put it in again and see what happens. The reason I think that it didn't work, the reason I know it didn't really work properly, is because when you look and you see them still here, now I know that's not gold bonding wires, and that hasn't come off. So again, I'm presuming it's because the acid became saturated and couldn't actually do its work. So I'm going to wash this out, and I'm going to put it into a fresh batch, and that'll be in part 2 of it, and we'll see, was it a complete fail or do we get it to work the second time, and you know, we'll see how it goes. So thanks guys for watching the video. Please leave your comments down below what you think may have caused it. Any guys that have done these before, as I say, this is my first time trying BGA base plates in copper chloride, so I haven't done that before, and so far it's a fail. But maybe you guys may be able to help me out and tell me where I went wrong or what went wrong. Like we'd say, if you look at this one, most of the gold has gone off it, and there's just a little bit of gold on it. So then again, most of it isn't gone off it when I rub it. It's underneath it. But so yeah, so I'll wash them out in distilled water and we'll see how we get on. And guys, check out for the next video and see how we got on in this one. Well, it mightn't be the next video, it might be a couple of weeks time, but see how we got on in the end. Okay guys, so not quite finished the video. I just want to show you this as well. When I poured the distilled water in, the water turned a white milky colour. So that was distilled water, there was nothing else in there but just distilled water. So guys, again, if anyone knows why it turned a milky colour, what's the reason for that? I'll filter that out in a separate filter. I won't filter it through the other ones just in case it affects what I've already done, because I'm not sure why it would turn a milky colour. But again, if any of you experts out there would be able to enlighten me on that, it would be great, because again, it's something that I've come across before, is this milky colour in the liquids when I add distilled water, or sometimes not even distilled water, it might be just it just turns a milky colour. So you can see there how it's gone a blacker milk now colour. When I stir it around, it's mixing into things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish the video there at that, guys. So give it a thumbs up, give me comments on what you think caused the problem, and we'll see if we can get to the bottom of it. And it may, as I said, I think, as far as I can gather, it's one of my own mistakes that I didn't clean off all the little solder balls off the back first in hydrochloric acid without putting it straight into the copper chloride. So that is probably what's caused it, I'm hoping, and we'll know more when I put it into the second part and see will it work any better. So guys, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I say I never let on I know everything, or I never hide anything for you. If there's something goes wrong, I'll show it so that people can see and not make the same mistake. And I say every time you make a mistake, you learn from it. So hopefully this one will not happen again ever again, and it shouldn't happen then to anyone else if it is what I think has caused it, and that has helped someone save a bit of time and a bit of acid. Because the biggest waste there now will be the amount of acid I wasted. So where I should have cleaned it off first and not been trying to cut corners and thinking that the acid would have been strong enough to still dissolve the copper and leave the gold. I was enough to dissolve all the tin. It got some of the copper, but it didn't get it all, as far as I can gather. It dropped it back out again. It dropped a lot of copper back out, and so that, as far as I can gather, the acid is spent now completely. But I'll do a test on it to see by putting some copper in and see will it just dissolve the copper. If it doesn't dissolve the copper, that means it's saturated with a chemical of a lower grade below it, like tin or iron, or not iron but tin is the main culprit there, the solder balls. So I think that's what's caused it. But the likes of that one there, It looks like some of the gold came off, but I'm not 100% sure. So guys, thanks again for watching, and please, if you have any information and if you think it's something else that caused that problem, not what I just said I think it caused it, let me know in the comments, and see you on the next one.